In the last video, I mentioned that I might do a part 2 if I had time, and I did, so here it is. The next 5 peppers I show you all came from the same parent plant. These are F2 Purple Flash hybrids. I love the really dark leaves on this one, and the peppers changed to a peach color. The video really doesn't do the color justice. I plan to save seeds from this one and grow it next year. Even though they're from the same parents, this one isn't quite as dark as the last one, and the peppers are a little bit different shape and color. I think I might keep this one and try to get the foliage just a little bit darker. The peppers seem to go through several color changes on their way to a dark red. The third sibling in this bunch is one that I've shown several times. It has some variegated foliage, some purple foliage, and the peppers go through some interesting color changes too. As if all of that wasn't enough, the plant is somewhat of a dwarf and is much smaller than some of the others, as you can see here. The next 2 siblings have green foliage with some variegation. The pepper on the right has green peppers that change to orange, and some of the peppers are a little lighter, like they're taking on some of that variegation that the leaves have, like that one in the middle. The plant on the left has purple peppers that gradually change to orange. This one doesn't have as much variegation as the other one. This is an F2 hybrid that I got from friends in Utah. It's a cross between a lemon spice jalapeno and a courbaki. I'll be tasting one of these soon just to see what it tastes like. I'm hoping for some mild, sweet heat. In the last video I mentioned pickled beets, and here's a look at one of the jars that we made. Even though it's in a canning jar, this is just a refrigerator pickled beets recipe, and we really like it a lot. We're starting to get a few more sunflowers, and we'll be getting a lot more very soon. I like the looks of this one. I told you that we were away from our garden for a few days, and that's because we went and visited our son and daughter-in-law and grandson in Tennessee. Here's a look at some of the scenery from the top of one of the mountains. They've got some acreage down there, and I think it's just a little piece of heaven. Here's some deer that came up real close to their yard while we were there, and I believe we counted 8. We had to go out and check out their birds while we were there. They've got guineas in this pen, and they can make quite a racket when they want to. They've been having trouble with coyotes and foxes getting their birds, so they had to get some young guineas to replace some that got eaten. My son built the buildings that the birds are in, and this one had peacocks. 1 male and 2 females. And this one's setting on 3 eggs. Here's a real quick look at her eggs. In another building, they had some bobwhite quail. My son gave them some mealworms while we were there, and they really went after them. While we were there, our daughter-in-law and the grandpuppies took us down to do some blackberry picking. One of the dogs ran ahead, and the other 2 rode along. We really enjoyed the ride in the 4-wheeler and just taking a look at some of their land. It's a beautiful place. The area they lived in reminded me a whole lot of the area that my grandparents lived in when I was a kid. Where we first started picking, I saw some of the tallest blackberry vines I'd ever seen. This one has berries that were at least 9 feet off the ground. My daughter-in-law got up in the back of the 4-wheeler so she could reach some of them. If you consider where the bottom of this blackberry cane starts, this one is probably over 12 feet tall. My son took us for a drive to see a waterfall, and this one was about 110 feet and no guardrails. Tennessee is a beautiful state, and we enjoyed our visit a whole lot.
All right, Pop, I got you.
No pushing. While we were there, we even had time to watch a duck parade. And speaking of ducks, every morning my daughter-in-law cooked some duck eggs. It was the first time that I'd eaten duck eggs, and I was surprised by how good they tasted. And just so I wouldn't lose my gardening skills, my son let me go out and help him harvest some green beans and some other stuff out of the garden. They've done really well for only gardening for a couple of years. I've had some requests for some taste test videos, and I have one coming. I'll be tasting 7 different dwarf tomatoes from the Dwarf Tomato Project. I hope to get the video up later this week or maybe next week. Let us know how your garden's doing, and don't forget to like and share this video. We'll see you next time.